So, hey everyone, it's Josh from the Blockchain DXB podcast, and today's episode we're going to be talking about an outsider's perspective on what is going on regarding the whole Iran deal. Now, when you talk about United States of America, whether we like it or not, whatever happens in the United States of America, it does have a domino effect on the other countries, isn't it? And today we have a guest that is Amin Mumbani. Now, Amin, do you want to tell our listeners a brief introduction about yourself?
Hi everyone, this is Amin Mumbani from Everyday Conversations. And let's talk about the outsider's perspective on what exactly is going on in the America.
An Everyday Conversation, I believe that is a new podcast you're starting, isn't it, Amin?
Yeah, I just recently started this one.
Excellent. So in today's episode, guys, we're going to be focusing on the Iran-US deal. Now, the big question is, where are people getting the information from? Now, this deal did actually sign a few days ago. Now, what is really surprising, this time mainstream media has got the 14 points right. But the big question is, where is your source? And where are the people getting the information from? That is a big question, isn't it, Amin?
The exactly thing is that official sources are better to be trusted. People will also know from our conversations what exactly is US-Iran conflict. The places which I can say to follow from exactly the official sources are Trump via Truth Social, Prime Minister of Pakistan via X, the Foreign Minister of Iran Syed Abbas Araghchi from X, and also the President of Iran Masoud Pezeshkian via X, and he has already posted the images that 14 points are listed over there.
I'm so glad you mentioned that thing, Amin, because one of the official sources regarding the whole US as well as Iran deal is the actual images that is posted by the President of Iran. So what I'd really urge your listeners to do is go ahead and check out the X account. He has put out 6 images, 3 of them I believe are in English, 3 of them are in
So what do you think,
language.
George? Why is there such a massive gap between the official text and the media commentary regarding the 14 points? And the Western media and the political commentators from both sides have offered widely different interpretations. So what do you say on this?
I think what you asked is $1 billion question, Amin. Maybe even $1 trillion question. Why is there so much of distance? And look, Amin, the answer to this is pretty simple. Most of the mainstream media, particularly from the left-leaning side of politics, they are suffering from something called as TDS, that is Trump derangement syndrome. And right now we are living in the world of social media, where everyone wants to be first. They don't want to get the facts right, rather they want to be first. Now surprisingly, this time regarding the Iran deal, not only the left-leaning media, even some of the media from the right side who are Trump advocates, they are also putting out a different narrative regarding the Iran deal. Now Peter Dorsey, who is one of the biggest advocates of President Donald Trump, he works for Fox News, and he's always there at the White House briefing ceremony. He started off by saying that we are giving Iranian people $300 billion, which is a big red flag, no. So we'll definitely go and explore that. And what you asked is the entire reason why we are doing this episode as well. Because look, we are living in the world where having a lot of information is not important, but getting information from the first sources. Now our LinkedIn, someone posted something about blockchain technology. Now he sourced 14 different articles. All of the 14 different articles were absolutely rubbish. Rather, you got to look at information from official source, then make up your own mind. We are not telling our listeners to go and listen to what Amin has to say or what I have to say, because we might be having our own biases as well. So what we want to say is go and look at information from official sources and then make up your own mind. So the answer to your question, Amin, is because everyone wants to be first as opposed to be right. And secondly, media always has bias. I know I'm saying that left-leaning media has TDS, but at the same time, right-wing news outlets such as Breitbart, even Fox, they are biased towards President Donald Trump, and vice versa. They were having negative news regarding Joe Biden as well. So our message is got to look at information from official sources. And as you mentioned, Amin, the official sources regarding the Iran deal is, President Donald Trump's Truth Social account, and he did actually post something really important a few hours ago. Then they can also go and check out the Prime Minister of Pakistan, who I believe has played a pivotal role regarding the Iran deal, and also the Foreign Minister as well as the President of Iran. So what we'll do in today's episode, we'll go and dissect each and every point, because these are 14 points. It could be a massive hit or it could be a complete disaster. Now me personally, with a bit of bias, I'm saying that it might be heading towards world peace, and this probably might be one of, if not the biggest important events in US history as well as Iranian history as well. And more importantly, because we're in the Middle East, I think we're definitely heading towards world peace. That's what I think. But things can always take a turn, isn't it, Amin?
Fake news, are circulating like everywhere, every social media, every place the fake news are there. And the fake news about the $300 billion misconception.
Yeah.
It's like rotating, like anyone is asking, okay, US is giving back 300 USD and something like that. So where is the money coming from?
Let's do one thing. We'll definitely go and touch base on the $300 billion. We'll dissect each and everything. And there is another news regarding United States of America unfreezing $24 billion. So you're talking about $324 billion. We'll definitely go and look at each and every one of these things. But let's do one thing. Let's go and dissect these 14 points and then give our interpretation. But again, our message is go ahead and check it yourself. Go ahead and check out all these 14 points yourself. Now, this is a memorandum of understanding. It could be possible that these statements or these points could have changed by tomorrow, by the time you're listening to the episode as well. So let's do one thing. Let's go ahead and dissect each and every point. The first point, I'll just read it out because unfortunately I checked in this app. We can't go ahead and share it because the whole idea was initially to go ahead and share it. So, and then we can go ahead and interpretation. Let me go ahead and read through the first point. The first point, says that the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America and their allies in the current war, by signing the Memorandum of Understanding, declare the immediate and permanent termination of military operation in all fronts, including Lebanon, and undertake from now on not to initiate any war or any military operations against each other, and to refrain from these or use of force against each other, and ensuring the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon. Now, the final deal will confirm the permanent termination of the war on all fronts, including Lebanon, and other provisions of this paragraph. Now, the big question is, when we talk about this particular deal between Republic of Iran and United States of America, they're talking about allies. Who do you think are the allies in this case?
I think the neighboring countries of the Middle East. What do you think?
Now, I'd like to assume, the neighboring countries are United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Bahrain, maybe even Qatar. That is at least what I think of so far as the neighboring countries are concerned. Now, I'm pretty much sure Pakistan will be involved in this as well, isn't it?
Pakistan is playing a big role in making the peace between US and Iran and creating a US and Iran deal. I think Trump in his speeches continuously, and JD Vance also since last couple of months, praising the General of Pakistan, Major Asim Munir. So yes, Pakistan is playing a very vital role in the Middle East tensions right now.
Absolutely. I think the Field Marshal Munir, I think he's definitely played a pivotal role in this agreement. Now, some of the Republicans, they are not happy because their point is, why are they focusing on the Middle East region? Rather, they want their prime focus only to be on the United States of America, and later on in the points we'll definitely delve deeper into this. Now, it is important to note right now, that when you talk about Lebanon, you're talking about the conflict that is going on regarding Hezbollah and Israel and Iran. And Trump has actually suggested that rather than Israel retaliating to them, maybe Syria should go ahead and handle the opposition party. So it's going to be really interesting to see, how some of the Republicans and Israel people go ahead and react to this. Now, a few days ago, JD Vance, he was also doing the media briefing because the former press secretary, she's just delivered a baby, so I think she's on vacation right now. So JD Vance did actually said that, he had kind of actually pushed back on Israel in a very polite and friendly way, where he was actually saying that the only friends that they have right now is the United States of America. But going back to the deal that you asked me, the final deal will actually confirm the permanent termination of war on all fronts. Now, a lot of people are in the mainstream media, both from the left-leaning as well as right-leaning side. They are saying that the war is ended. It is not necessarily true. It depends on the behavior of Iranian people. And the key theme, I think the takeaway our listeners should know, that President Donald Trump and the Republicans, they are focusing on the behavior of Iranian people. Now, when you talk about behavior, it becomes very subjective, isn't it? How do you identify what the behavior is? We'll definitely go and delve into that. But regarding the Memorandum of Understanding, it is not the final deal. It is more of a guideline. And Trump has said that if Iran does not behave, the US will actually go and put bombs on the head. So we want to go and...
So how do you think how long this deal is going to be?
I think this Memorandum of Understanding, there's going to be 2 updates. One is going to be in the next 30 days. And then there's going to be a final agreement in the next 60 days.
So now I want you to think for a second, George, that who benefits most because of the deal? USA or Iran or neighboring countries? What exactly is this?
That is such an interesting question. Because of this deal, I think United States of America benefits the most. Because look, the gas prices have fallen down a lot. And there's midterm elections that is taking place later on this year. So when you talk about it from a political point of view, it is the United States of America that benefits the most. But along with that, even Iran benefits the most. Because when you talk about the signing, they get a bit of breathers in it. They can go and start maybe selling, exporting their oils. Neighboring countries, they would benefit the most, according to me, because right now, the Straits of Hormuz, let's say if it is open, which means that there'll be smooth passage of oil. That means the grocery prices will go down, things will be getting cheaper, and we've been trying to buy things via Amazon. A lot of the delivery is not happening, so hopefully because of this immediately when you talk about it, maybe we might be getting our products from Amazon much faster. But what about companies? Do you think companies will be happy about this particular news?
I think everyone will get benefit from this. If you see, just a particular thing if you said about Amazon, right? Amazon is, of course, it's going worldwide and it's getting their shipments delay. If you say Temu is getting the shipments delay. I personally ordered something from Styly for my sister's daughter in Qatar. So, Styly and Namshi, everything they transfer from Saudi. And it got them delayed after like 7 days. Instead of 2 days delivery, it showed after 7 days. After the Strait of Hormuz is completely open, everyone will get benefit from that. If even the companies, small companies, the freight companies, the logistics companies, everything will get benefit from that.
Absolutely correct. And that is the immediate benefit regarding it, isn't it? But when you talk about from 30 days and 60 days, it's going to be completely different. Now, that is the first point. Now, let's move towards the second point. And this is it states, and what their second point states that the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America undertake to respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and they plan to refrain from interfering in each other's internal affairs. Now, this part, according to me, is very, very subjective, isn't it? It depends on what Iran considers as interfering and what United States of America considers as interfering. And right now in the mix, we also have the Israel versus Lebanon conflict. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this drama unfolds. Now, Iran will be talking about it from a religious point of view, because if you follow the foreign minister of Iran, they are looking at this from a religious point of view, and they are saying that we are not surrendering. But so far as United States of America is concerned, one side of politics is saying that Iran is surrendering, the other side of politics is saying that United States of America is surrendering. So it's going to be a mixture of both of these things.
Just a minute before, when you said something about the US will monitor the behavior of Iran, I think this point is going to link on that, how Iran is behaving right now. Because when they are if they are using the religious point of view, the religious principles, as you said that their premier have said this thing, so definitely this will fall under the behaving itself.
I think what you're saying is absolutely correct. And what I'd really urge the listeners to do is, go and follow the foreign minister of Iran via X. For the very first time, in probably the last 3 months, he said that he's actually even calling out media for putting out wrong information regarding the Iran deal. So maybe at a macro level, irrespective of whichever country you support, maybe both of them are agreeing that media is putting out a completely different narrative to what the facts are. And when you talk about media, they don't get money for facts, isn't it? They get money for how many likes you get, how many people are sharing that particular video, how many views you get. They don't get money for facts, isn't it? Let's say there's a media channel that is 100% reporting fact, but there are only 10 viewers or 10 listeners. They're not going to monetize it, isn't it?
But the thing is, actual information is coming out lately, but the fake news is spreading out so early. I think in last couple of months, you can say last 3 months, many fake accounts from the Irani military, Irani government, US military, Donald Trump, JD Vance, everyone has multiple fake accounts has been created with the fake news spreading out. Even today I sent you something. So I don't know that I can trust on that news or no.
You're absolutely correct, and this goes back to the whole point. Having a lot of information is not important, making sure that we get access to official sources. And look, as you'd be surprised, 90% of the information is completely skewed out. It is edited, cherry-picked, and the original message is completely different to actual what the facts. And now, for our listeners, we are not telling that what I and Amin are saying is facts. We do have biases. You don't have to take our word for it. Rather, go and make sure you go and look at information from official sources. But definitely a great point, Now let's run through the third point, that is, states that the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America commit to negotiating and achieving the final deal within a maximum of 60 days and this could be extendable with mutual consent. Now, this is not the final deal, and hopefully we might be getting some more information in the next few days, probably today, because I believe JD Vance is right now in Geneva, isn't it? So it's going to be really interesting to see if we do actually get more information regarding it. Not sure, if this particular new information will be available to the public, because there are a lot of security reasons as to why they don't want to make it public yet before the official signing, isn't it?
That's the thing. Something is happening in Switzerland today, right now.
Yeah.
People are binging out. People wants to know exactly what happened. And there where the fake news people, the fake media takes points. They are spreading, okay, I know that right now the news in the Switzerland, it will come out lately.
Yeah.
The fake news will come out easily. So people are going to follow the first news, which is the fake one, and the spread is going out. So what do you think, George? What's the delay mattering over there? Why they are delaying the news exactly?
Personally, I don't think so. The official news is not getting delayed, because I tend to follow President Donald Trump through social. He immediately posts the moment it is out. But media, they often have press briefing. And media wants to be first as opposed to be right. One reason probably why there is delay is because media always wants to be first as opposed to getting it right. That could be one reason why we are getting any delay. And now, based on my understanding, if you actually go to the White House YouTube channel, President Donald Trump, along with his team of Avengers, they often go live. Now, this live recording, what happens is, I've seen so many videos while he's live, people have already taken that clip, they've already started their own podcast channel while the live session is still on. So, people often want to be first as opposed to be right. So that is where I believe there's a lot of drama going on. Now, the Democrats, they will do absolutely anything possible to disrupt this entire negotiation. And right now, they will be coming up with fake news, misleading information. I saw one of the posts via Facebook. They said, President Donald Trump is giving $300 billion and Iran has already got some of the funds. Now, people are making up all of these things. And surprisingly, she has got 324,000 likes. So 334,000 likes.
That's the thing. Social media. If you click on any fake news or any kind of news, even a proper channel. For example, if you're following Donald J. Trump, if you followed him, if you liked his tweet on Twitter, now the social media will keep on showing on your algorithm every news with the name of Donald Trump.
Correct.
So either the fake channels are also there, the truth channels are also there, the fake channels are also there.
Yep.
So it's you or it's the listener to decide what exactly they need to follow. That's what we are telling them. Which sources are the proper sources. Of course, Premier of Iran, Premier of Pakistan, they are doing some news. Okay, exactly. Then they have to identify which channels fake, which channels not fake.
Now, after the signing of the deal, there was a guy on Instagram who said that Iran has blocked Straits of Hormuz once again. And that is again fake news.
I just read this in the morning today.
Yeah, these are media, coming out with their own information. So our message is, look at information from official sources. Now, this begs this question. When you talk about official sources, does that mean that that information is right? The answer to that is yes and no, because look, when you talk about official sources, they're only going to put out information that is beneficial to them, isn't it? For President Donald Trump, for instance, he'll only put out information that is right for his administration. He's not, let's say, he might be editing or missing certain things. The same goes with Iran as well. So we have to take that into consideration also. And then we have to make up our own mind. Now, how I assess this, I look at what President Donald Trump has said. Has that thing happened? Yes or no? So let's say President Donald Trump's, let's say on 14th, I'm going to sign this executive order. Has he gone ahead and signed this? Yes or no? I want to share one classic example. When President Donald Trump was at a Bitcoin Nashville event, he said on day one, he's going to set a person called Ross Ulbricht free, who was incorrectly penalized and put in prison. Day one happened. He was not freed. Day two, he was freed. Now people are upset that, he did not free him on day one. He did not free him on day one. President Donald Trump is not keeping up to it. But now when you find out, in the application form, the guy's own lawyer incorrectly put the date. Instead of putting the month first, he put the date first. So the signing for him getting pardoned was ready on day one. So this is where, you have to go and start doing your own research, start doing your own investigation, and then make up your own mind. Maybe you're a fan of President Donald Trump, maybe you're still suffering from TDS. As long as you look at information from official sources, that is what our message actually is regarding the Iran deal.
So let's go back to what we were discussing about the 60 days, George. So why 60 days? Is this connected with the US midterm election?
That is such an excellent question. And the answer to that, according to me, is yes and no. Now, midterm election is definitely going to set the trajectory of President Donald Trump's career going forward. But here's the interesting thing. Regarding midterm elections, there's something completely different going on right now. And this is more to do with the voting rights. So there is something called a gerrymandering case, which we won't get into this now because we might have to talk about it maybe 3 to 4 hours. So the answer to that is partly yes and partly no, that there was a verdict given out by Supreme Court that the Republicans, they can go ahead and have additional seats. Now, because of that, me personally, I don't think so that the 60 days has anything to do with midterm election. But a lot of the Democrats and Republicans, they could always say that no, because of the midterm election, President Donald Trump is hurrying to go ahead and get this Iran deal. According to me, the answer to that is no. Because now, so far as the midterm elections is concerned, irrespective of what happens in Iran deal, the Republicans, they would be gaining a lot of seats. So President Donald Trump does not have too much to worry at this point of time. But let's say, if I'm a detractor, I could always say, look, there's midterm elections coming up. President Donald Trump is thinking that he's going to lose the election, and that's one of the reasons why he wants to go out and have this Iran deal. So let's say if I have millions or 2 millions of followers, they would believe me, isn't it? But the fact is, because of the gerrymandering case, so what our listeners can do is, try to look up gerrymandering case. I think it was in the state of Louisiana, where Supreme Court has given a verdict that yes, Republicans can have more seat. Now, we won't go ahead and explain that because that'll take 2 to 3 hours and why that is a good thing for Republicans and bad thing for Democrats. But to answer your question, no. But the second part is, let's say, the reason why I feel yes is because let's say President Donald Trump gets his deal now, as he has seen, the oil flow is increasing. And that has caused the oil prices in US to go down. So people are definitely seeing a lot of benefits because of this Iran deal, and which also means that the inflation will go down. So part of it, the answer to that is yes, because of the Iran deal. Now the oil prices in US will go down, the inflation will go down, which means, in US they have something called as FOMC meeting, where they make decisions regarding interest rates. Which means at the next FOMC announcement, they'll go ahead and reduce the interest rate. And now President Donald Trump and Republicans, they have a buffer of 3 months. And 3 months is a good enough time to go and switch the so-called voters who are undecided. So I think it is, the mixed answer to that is yes and no. So 60 days is a clever thing. But me personally, I don't think so. But the answer to that could be yes to a certain. I would say maybe 60% no, 40% yes.
So I'll take your reply as it's somehow 50-50 something.
No, I would say 60% no. 40% yes, it is connected to the elections.
But it's going to make an impact.
It definitely will. It'll indirectly make an impact because let's say if President Donald Trump signs this Iran deal, immediately the gas prices have fallen. They've already fallen down. The gas prices now in US is already below the conflict. So if gas prices have fallen down, which means inflation becomes much more easier. Things get cheaper for voters in US. And we are talking about, some voters who are still undecided. It'll definitely pull the lever.
As we are talking right now about that this 60 days are going to, are connected with midterm election or no, I just have another question with you.
Yeah.
Who do you think, what's going to happen in midterm election? Is Trump going to win it or lose it?
My prediction is,
I know it's too early to ask something like that, but definitely there is something spark going on.
Yeah, midterm election has nothing to do with Trump. So firstly, midterm elections has nothing to do with Trump. People are going to vote for the Republican candidates. So Trump has absolutely nothing to do with that. Now, historically, in the last 200 or 300 years, only 3 times the current president has won the midterm election. Only 3 times. Rest every time the sitting president has lost the midterm election. This time, the reason why it is going to be different is because of the gerrymandering. Because of the Supreme Court decision. Now, only because of the Supreme Court decision, we'll have to explain that in detail. Only because of that, I think Republicans could win. So the midterm election has nothing to do with President Donald Trump, but because of the redistribution of votes. There's a very
short, I can say that this midterm election is going to make an history again.
Definitely, yes. Looks like 80 to 90%. But this is more to do because of a Supreme Court decision. And you know what we can do is we can do a nice 3-hour episode on what the gerrymandering is. It is something not connected to Trump or anything as such. It is more about how the vote distribution is done.
Definitely.
We have to talk about it. Yeah,
listeners would
so
love.
That's
to
the reason I'm saying,
this.
you know,
in fact,
this
I want to learn more about this.
So this Iran deal, I mean, 40% I would say is because of midterm elections. The other 60% I would say is no, it is not because of midterm elections. I think that is.
Let's get to on fourth point that immediately upon the signing of this memorandum of understanding, the United States of America will begin the removal of its naval blockade and any disturbance or impediment against the Islamic Republic of Iran, and will fully end the naval blockade within 30 days. And during this period, the traffic of vessels will be in proportion to the number of pre-war traffic being restored by the Islamic Republic of Iran. The United States of America further undertakes to remove its forces from the proximity of the Islamic Republic of Iran within 30 days after the final deal.
Yes.
So what do you say on this? And the fourth point.
Now, the most important thing is, I mean, and a lot of Republicans are not happy about it, is the removal of blockade that is going to be immediately after the signing. So I would like to assume that the blockade has been removed. Now, the big question is, how does Iran benefit from it? How does the United States of America benefit from it? Now, Iran can literally benefit because, you know, ships can start flowing smoothly. Now, this point of time, I'm not sure if they're going to be charging any toll, because there is a bit of drama that Iran is having some agreement with Oman that they're going to be charging a toll. And President Donald Trump last night did actually posted via X that Iran will not be charging any toll. US will not be charging any toll, not just for 60 days, even going forward. So the big question is, how does Iran actually benefit from it? I have no answer to that at this point of time. How does the United States of America benefit for it? As we talked about, the oil prices have fallen down. But something which we touched base upon earlier, Mamin, is how does neighboring countries like the United Arab Emirates benefit from it? You know, we have talked about the embassy update. I saw an email where there's going to be embassy appointment reopening in the United Arab Emirates, and this is for people who want to get visas in US and even other parts of the countries. But what will happen is, because of the signing, you know, the embassy people, they'll be happy. They might have already had a meeting like how we're talking about it right now, probably in the next few days. I don't think so. It might take weeks. We might be getting some update that, okay, the US embassy is opening up, let's say in Abu Dhabi or Dubai. But as we talked about, you know, insurance prices that are connected to these ships, I mean, because of the Straits of Hormuz, insurance companies were hammered a lot. Now, because the Straits of Hormuz is open, you know, the insurance companies, we're talking about insurance companies who are doing insurance for these ships, they are the ones who are going to be benefiting the most. The only thing I can say is, you know, J.D. Vance and President Donald Trump, they're having interviews, and they are saying that the United States of America will actually monitor Iran's behavior and actions, and they're not just going to take it just for the word. So, you know, you have to go and validate how they behave. So they'll be monitoring each and every action like hawk's eye. So we're going to be getting more update as and when, you know, days goes by regarding the blockade. What about the fifth point? I mean, do you want to touch base on the fifth point?
Fifth one says that upon the signing of this MoU, the Islamic Republic of Iran will make arrangements using its best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vessels with no charge for 60 days only, from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman and the vice versa. The traffic of commercial vessels will immediately start, and considering the need for removing the technical and military obstacles and demining by the Islamic Republic of Iran will be instated within 30 days. The Islamic Republic of Iran will conduct dialogue with the Sultanate of Oman to define the future administration and maritime services in the Strait of Hormuz, in discussions with other Persian Gulf littoral states in line with applicable international law and sovereign rights of coastal states of the Strait of Hormuz.
This is a big problem. I mean, this, according to me, is a big problem because it states Islamic Republic of Iran will make arrangements using best efforts for safe passage of commercial vehicles with no charge for 60 days.
The thing is, charging in this 60 days or charging not in 60 days. What gonna happen after 60 days?
That is what the big drama is. So according to me, I mean, a lot of people are upset. If you were to ask me, the number second or third point is this. The first one is about the $300 billion, which we'll touch base upon. But the second and probably the most important one is regarding what happens after 60 days. Now, pro-Trump guys are saying that there will be no charge after 60 days. And President Donald Trump last night did actually state that there will be no tolls in Straits of Hormuz for 60 days or even after that. Now, President Donald Trump is saying that there will be no charge whatsoever, not just during 60 days, even after 60 days. But based on this information, looks like Iran is going to charge, isn't it? At least that's what it looks like. So what I'd suggest is, wait for the next few days, get official information either from the US officials or from Iranian officials or from the Prime Minister of Pakistan. And then we'll find out, is there going to be a charge? Yes or no? Based on my feeling and understanding is that there will be no charge, maybe after 60 days. But the document says, it looks like there will be charge after 60 days, right? So that's what is causing a lot of chaos and confusion, right? I mean,
what do you mean by demining by the Islamic Republic of Iran, which will be instated in 30 days?
This is what I think, and I hope I'm not right. I mean, when the Straits of Hormuz chaos was going on, there were rumors that RGC, they have put mines underneath the Straits of Hormuz. Now, this is where notorious politics kicks in. When President Donald Trump sent J.D. Vance, along with, I believe it was Jared Kushner, for the peace agreement, peace talks called as Islamabad talks. President Donald Trump did actually send a massive US Marine, and they were checking if there were mines underneath the Straits of Hormuz to go and check. So essentially what Iran was saying, that we have put mines underneath the water, and if any ship does not behave, we are going to blast the ships off.
Yeah.
So based on, I could be wrong, and guys, if I'm wrong, I do apologize, but based on what I think is that Iran now will go and take care of the demining process. So we need a bit more clarity regarding that. So what demining means, if there are any mines that are underneath the water, which could potentially blast the entire ships, Iran will go and take it off. But here where the confusion is, US Marine ship is saying that they try to scour each and every part of the Straits of Hormuz underneath the water and they did not find any mines. But that time, Iranian officials were saying that we do not know where the mines are. And people who put the mines, they were apparently killed. So maybe they'll go and find out some more information regarding the mines that are underneath the water.
That was all chaos actually, that the mines were there or no, and then they don't know that where exactly the mines are. So it's a full chaotic situation, which they have to figure it out later.
And regarding the demining, I mean, it also talks about, Iran will be doing it. My question is, should other countries get involved in ensuring that, the demining is taking place? Will it be like just Iran who's doing it, or will there be the Gulf countries or maybe United States of America also playing an active participation role in making sure that the mines underneath the water are completely removed? Again, guys, if we are missed on this point, and demining means completely different, please don't.
No, I think you covered it well, and the demining process is the most important thing. I think so. It's a huge problem. It's not sorted out, but demining should be done actually.
Yep. That's the reason why, when you look at the Memorandum of Understanding, it is only 14 points. The final agreement is got to be thousands of pages long, isn't it? We are just talking about 14 points, not even 2 pages. The final agreement will mention specific details, the time, the location, the name of the employees, if they are going to get security clearance. That'll be, I would assume it'll be at least 10 to maybe 20,000 pages long. So, now using AI, we can go ahead and ask them to summarize it.
So, George, let's talk about the 6th point. The 6th point states, the United States of America undertakes with regional partners to develop a definitive mutually agreed plan with at least $300 billion for the reconstruction and economic development of the Islamic Republic of Iran. The mechanism for the implementation of this plan will be finalized as part of the final deal within 60 days. All required licenses, waivers, and permissions needed for the relevant financial transactions will be granted by the United States of America.
This, I think is the number one problem. Ted Cruz, who's a Senate member, he was really upset about this. Now, for our listeners, you should know that Ted Cruz is kind of like the right hand of President Donald Trump. He's been advising President Donald Trump to go ahead and have an attack in Iran. So he was probably the number one person who convinced President Donald Trump to go ahead and have an attack on Iran. He's not happy about this at all. And I listened to all of his podcasts, and he was saying that this is a big no. Now, what is really important to know, is he's putting out videos starting only with regarding the $300 billion. But I feel he has marginally got it wrong, because look, the post by President Donald Trump clearly states via Truth Social, I believe he posted on 18, that there is no $300 billion payment done by Iran from the United States of America. It's fake news. There is not a single dollar being sent by the United States of America. But it is the regional partners. So we are talking about Gulf countries. Now, President Donald Trump's idea, is that we have already destroyed Iran. Maybe if we go ahead and build Iran for them, they might get some motivation to kind of so-called behave. and not have nuclear ambitions. So when you talk about the $300 billion dirham, I mean, these funds will be from neighboring countries. Could be, let's say, Qatar, could be United Arab Emirates, could be Pakistan, maybe India. They want to go and, let's say, build India. But here's the important thing, I mean, and this I think settles everything. What J.D. Vance and President Donald Trump has said is that the funds that are going in over there, that will be monitored by the United States of America. Now, knowing the notorious history of Iran, they could say that, we are going to be spending, let's say, $100 million on building a bridge. They could take that $100 million and they can have nuclear ambitions. They won't have to use the entire, maybe 10%, 5% of it, and when you accumulate that, and that is something which the United States of America does not want. Now, you can make an argument, who the hell is United States of America to make that decision? But in order to go and have an agreement, that is what President Donald Trump and J.D. Vance is forcing. So the key message, and this is probably the most important thing, is that $300 billion, not a single penny, I mean, is going to be going from the US taxpayer money. But it will be the neighboring countries who wants to go out and build it. Now, for Bitcoiners, I mean, I'm not sure if you know that mining Bitcoin in Iran is the cheapest thing to do. It costs roughly around just $4,000 to $7,000 to go out and mine one Bitcoin. In other countries, it costs maybe 10 times more than that. Kazakhstan is the second cheapest country to go out and mine Bitcoin. Now, with this news, a lot of Bitcoin miners, let's say if Iran agreement is signed and there is peace, a lot of Bitcoin miners, they're going to jump to Iran. They're going to be starting the Bitcoin mining operations. But President Donald Trump and the United States of America, as well as the United Nations Council, they want to go out and ensure that the funds that they're giving to Iran government, let's say for licensing and other things, is being monitored by United States of America. Now, you can make an argument, who the hell is United States of America and why should they interfere on where the money is going? But that is exactly why there's chaos, isn't it? Even the licenses, they want to go out and find out who is getting the license. United States of America is doing that. So this becomes a philosophical question. Why is the United States of America doing it and why not Iran? Or why even the neighboring countries? Neighboring countries, they don't want to do that, isn't it? So that is one of the biggest political drama, I mean, that is going on. And Ted Cruz, as I said, he's definitely not happy about it. There's another guy called as Glenn Blackwell, I believe, forgot his name. He's been supporting President Donald Trump in each and every step. He's not happy about it. A lot of Israel influencers, they are not happy about this as well. But look, if you're an American, I think it is a great deal. It is pretty decent, not that bad at all. The other thing what I wanted to touch base on more, is regarding missiles. It is important to know the clear differentiation between nuclear ambitions and missiles. So President Donald Trump has said that Iran will not have nuclear weapons. But in one of the interviews, he said that Iran can have missiles. Because in what President Donald Trump said is that, look, Iran has the right to defend itself again. But he's not talking about in US, but missiles are completely different. But when he puts out the statement, a lot of the guys who are supporting President Donald Trump, he's like, what is Trump doing? This deal is absolutely horrendous and bad. Much worse than what Obama did. But there are teeny tiny details which we need to get more clarity, and hopefully when the final deal is done, it'll be roughly around thousands and thousands of pages where we'll get more information regarding it. But lots of misleading information. I think there's going to be a lot of money that'll be involved. A lot of neighboring countries, they'll be putting money to go and, let's say, rebuild Iran, maybe having better bridges, maybe better universities, maybe sporting industries, and that's where this $300 billion is not going to be instant. It might be taking maybe a couple of decades. That is what my take is.
So $300 billion is not coming straight away. It's not coming in one transaction. It's splitted.
It might be spread across maybe, I would think, at least 2 decades, maybe 3 decades. And these funds will be from the neighboring countries. Let's say someone wants to go out and build a bridge, for instance. But the United States of America, they're going to be monitoring these transactions. Now, this is where my specialty is kicking in. How are they going to monitor the transaction? It sounds easy to say it. So, if they were to give cash, you can always give fake receipts. So, let's say for 1 million dirham, we can always give fake receipts and we can tell them that we are buying cement or we are buying something else. But in reality, they can use that to go and build the nuclear plants in it. This is where I think something called a stable coin kicks in. Now, for our listeners, you should know the key difference between cryptocurrency and stable coins. Bitcoin is something completely different. But when you talk about stable coins, they are issued by a centralized entity. One key differentiation between stable coin and cryptocurrency is in stable coin, the issuer can go ahead and freeze the account, but at the same time, you can go ahead and validate where the funds are being used. So let's say, if I send you 10 stable coins, the stablecoin issuer will know that has received the 10 stablecoin, and if you were to use it, let's say in a grocery store, everyone in the world can know that has actually used it in a grocery store, not someone else. But let's say you are notorious and you're trying to use it for a grocery store, and you have a partnership with the grocery store, and you say, instead of giving me this, you give me something else. If, let's say, the centralized issuer company who knows that is doing this notorious thing, they can easily go ahead and freeze your stablecoin. You can't do that with cryptocurrencies. So maybe some of the stablecoin issuing companies, they can barge in now and they can say, you know what, why don't you go ahead and make transactions in stablecoin? And if that thing happens, stablecoin will go 20 times, maybe 50 times of what it is. They will definitely surpass everything that is going on.
So definitely it's a good, it's a news for our listeners that don't believe the fake news. The $300 has not been sent yet. Not a single penny has been sent yet. So $300 billion is still on its own place. It's not been sent. So don't believe the fake news like this.
Correct. Hopefully in the next few days, we might be getting more information, because this is just a memorandum of understanding.
But again, there will be just an information. There will be no sending of money yet.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the 7th point of this 14-point index. The United States of America undertakes to terminate all types of sanctions against the Islamic Republic of Iran, including the United Nations Security Council resolutions, the IAEA Board of Governors resolutions, and all the unilateral US sanctions, primary and secondary, in an agreed upon schedule as part of the final deal. The Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America acknowledge the critical importance of the sanctions termination issue above mentioned and express their intentions to immediately address these issues in the negotiations in order to achieve mutual agreement on them.
Yes. This again, a lot of them, they are saying that the United States of America is removing all the sanctions. This is not true. This sanction is dependent on the behavior. So let's say if Iran misbehaves, they can put the sanctions right back in. So let's say another thing for our listeners to know is that when you talk about the nuclear goals, let's say if Iran do actually pursue the plans of having nuclear ambitions, there are satellites through which they can find out if a person is moving even one step towards a nuclear plant. And, you can find out the badge number, you can tell the facial structure, absolutely everything. So the moment they see that, sanctions go right in place, and it won't take much time. If President Donald Trump, he might do it real time itself. Or maybe sanctions may take effect for the next 24 to 48 hours. But look, a lot of the guys who are supporting the war, they are saying that no, this is no. They want immediate action. They want the complete destruction of Iran, which is not true, and that is something which cannot happen, isn't it? So regarding removing all sanctions, that is definitely, yes, a possibility. But again, the whole idea is that, they want to go and check the behavior.
Let me just ask you one more question in connecting to this. How do the US and IAEA ensure that maintaining the status quo doesn't turn into a window for Iran to advance its ambitions before the final contract is signed?
This is a brilliant question. This is an absolutely important question. And this goes back to the United States of America monitoring the behavior. The only way they can do that is just constantly monitoring the behavior. And this should not be for the first 6 months, 1 year. Maybe after 2 years, they might go ahead and start doing their nuclear ambitions. And maybe after President Donald Trump's term is over, maybe when there is a new administration, they can go ahead and start doing it, which could potentially happen. So the only way they can do that is by monitoring the behavior. And the other thing is, going back to stable coins, rather than going forward having all of the transactions with stable coins, not necessarily cryptocurrencies. Let's say if there is a notorious behavior, what stablecoin issuers can do is they can immediately go ahead and freeze the account.
So that's what I want to ask. Does this allow Iran to keep its nuclear capabilities, and how long?
The answer to that is no. When you talk about nuclear capabilities, the answer to that is no. And strangely enough, for the very first time, even the foreign minister did actually post via X that they are no longer having nuclear ambitions. So the nuclear ambitions has definitely ended for Iran. At least now, unless mainstream media, they'll go and try to meddle with it. But surprisingly, even the foreign minister is saying about looking at mainstream media news. Because what has happened is, because of the blockade, looks like Iran has suffered a lot. So it looks like the blockade has done more damage than potentially the war that preceded before that. And what I'd really urge the listeners to do is whenever President Donald Trump and J.D. Vance is speaking, listen to how many times they're talking about behavior. And they're talking about that coupled with actions. Actions can tell, if your behavior is right, you can say something and you can do something else, isn't it? So they're focusing on, clean play from Iran.
So it's they are not allowed to keep their nuclear capabilities right now till Donald Trump is there. If some other president come up for something.
Forever. It is not just till Donald Trump, it is forever. That's why we are waiting for the final agreement. It's not going to be now, not for the next 10 years, not for the next 20 years, not for the next 50 years, not for the next 100 years. Forever. Because when you talk about nuclear weapons, you can destroy the entire world. So that's one of the reasons. And according to Trump, and we have to be very cautious in what you're saying, according to Trump, because their ideologies are driven by different principles, he does not want them to have a nuclear weapon. But let's say Pakistan has a nuclear weapon. No one has any problem with that. India has nuclear weapons. Absolutely no one has any problems with that, isn't it? Russia already has nuclear weapons. But because of certain principles that Iran has, not only United States of America, even the Europe, they don't want them to have nuclear weapons because you can end the entire world.
I know now no one is agreeing to Islamic Republic of Iran to have the nuclear weapon. Yeah. Let me read out the 8-point judge of the 14-point index. The Islamic Republic of Iran reaffirms that it shall not procure or develop nuclear weapons. The Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America have agreed to resolve the disposition of stockpiled enriched material pursuant to a mechanism that will be mutually agreed upon, in accordance with the schedule mentioned in paragraph 7, with a minimum methodology to be done bending on site under the supervision of IAEA. The two parties also agree to discuss the issue of enrichment and other mutually agreed matters related to the Islamic Republic of Iran's nuclear needs, based on a satisfactory framework being agreed upon the final deal. The final deal will confirm the provisions of this paragraph. The Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America acknowledged the critical importance of the nuclear issues above the mentioned and expressed the intentions to immediately address the issues in the negotiations in order to achieve mutual agreement to them. I think my last question is totally answered over here somehow.
This is the first time I also saw the foreign minister of Iran agreeing that there will be no nuclear ambitions. It clearly stays on the very first line, isn't it? It's pretty self-explanatory. But what is important to know, it says shall not procure. Now, this is going not just wording. Now, one way of looking at it is President Donald Trump could have actually signed this agreement before, but that time it was only saying that Iran cannot go and make their own nuclear ambition. But from a legal point of view, what if they were to buy it? Could they actually buy nuclear weapons from Russia? Now with this agreement, they cannot even do that. So it's just a matter of legal terminology. But Iran could say that, hey, you know what? We are not building our own nuclear plant. Rather, we are buying it, let's say, from Russia or let's say from another country. So now they can't even do that. So this is, very, very serious agreement. The other thing, is important to note, they also talked about agreeing to resolve the dispossession of stockpile enriched material. Now we know what happened during the Midnight Hammer, where United States of America at night went ahead and put missiles right in the enrichment facilities in Iran, isn't it? So their stockpile is underground, but now Iran has agreed that that thing will be destroyed. Now there's a bit of drama regarding this. Initially, President Donald Trump was saying that United States of America is going to be destroying it, but now looks like there's an agreement that it is not going to be the United States of America alone who will destroy it. Rather, it'll be some members from the United Nations Council, some Iranian officials who will go and destroy it.
I was about to ask you before, when I was going through this 14 points, that okay, Iran cannot procure, but can they buy? Can they buy the nuclear? That's pretty much cleared right now that they cannot buy. And that's the things that media will lead you in certain directions that Iran is on upper hand actually.
Yep. So now they can't even buy any of the nuclear weapons. Now, from a philosophical point of view, we can make an argument. Why is it that, United States of America is saying that you can't have it? Because it is a free world, isn't it? Every country can do whatever they want. But this is more of a philosophical question, and maybe the higher bodies, they get to decide what is right or what is not wrong.
So, George, let me go through the point number 9. Pending the final deal, the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America agree to maintain the status quo. The Islamic Republic of Iran will maintain the current status quo of its nuclear program, and the United States of America will not impose any new sanctions and will not deploy additional forces in the region. How far you can think that this is so true that this is going to happen? And this is not the final deal yet.
Knowing President Donald Trump, he's known as the biggest deal maker, I think he will follow through with it. And he'll ensure that it is not just for a few years. It might be probably for the rest of eternity. But let's say if there was any other politician, maybe they'll go out and try to do something notorious. Now, I'm not sure, if you know that there was, before the attack, Operation Epic Fury, there was also something called as Board of Peace, which is more to do with Palestinian people. And even at that session, President Donald Trump said, we would love to Iran to be part of Board of Peace. So he's giving them an option to go ahead and be part of the Board of Peace. But this news, is spread a lot by Fox News. They are saying that this is a win for Iran and a loss for President Donald Trump and Republicans. So it's going to be really interesting to see, if we get more clarity, some specific information, maybe have a press conference, which I believe there might be a press conference. As he talked about there in Geneva, there might be a press conference. And it's going to be really interesting to see, if they get any finer details regarding it. Again, at the broader level, it is the Memorandum of Understanding. And based on this, they're going to be discussing further details. Now, the upper hand, right now, United States of America has, and this goes back to the midterm elections, because of the gerrymandering, because of the Supreme Court ruling, President Donald Trump has a breather. He doesn't have to rush to go out and get the agreement, because Supreme Court has kind of given him, not him in particular, has given the United States of America the right way to go out and vote. So he doesn't have to worry so much about the midterm elections as such.
But George, one question. Board of Peace you mentioned right now.
Yeah.
Before these all things were happening, Board of Peace were top of the table. Everyone was talking about Board of Peace. Some nations participated, some nations didn't participate. Why the news channels, the media are not talking about Board of Peace much as of now?
That is a brilliant question. Look, I watched the Board of Peace. It is 3 hours long. According to me, it is great for Palestinian people. There are 20-point plan. Each and every 20-point plan is focused only on Palestinian people. So what I'd really urge our listeners to do is, go to the White House official YouTube channel and just listen to it. It is long, it is boring. And now I shared it to a friend of mine and he was like, oh, Palestinian people are not involved in it. The very first person was a Palestinian official, and what he actually said. He called President Donald Trump something really beautiful and powerful. He called him as the peacemaker, which in Islamic tradition, peacemaker is probably the highest.
I think the Prime Minister of Pakistan and the Field Marshal General Asim Munir and Prime Minister Muhammad Shehbaz Sharif, they initiated this response of Trump of Board of Peace, and they traveled all the way to US. And I was feeling very proud that, okay, we have taken this initiative, and then the Islamabad talks happen. And then again, one round of the talks happen. But still, the missing part is Board of Peace. Board of Peace is not seen anywhere in the recent last 2 weeks, I think so. Strengthening a lot, the peace deals, the signing, the ceasefire, the Strait of Hormuz, everything were being heard by every media channels. But Board of Peace is again missing. As you said, yes, it is for the Palestinian people.
And for people who are pro-Palestinian, they should go out and check out Board of Peace, and they should start spreading it on Instagram stories. They should start spreading it on X. They should be talking about podcasts, because I think it is great. It is great for Palestinian people. I think it is great for everyone. It is great for Israel people, so they don't have to be involved in the conflict. I think what you're asking is a $1 billion question. I think people should be talking about Board of Peace. There are, I believe, 15 to 20 countries involved. Azerbaijan president, he said that, why have United Nations? But, the Board of Peace is doing such a brilliant job. So I think it is a great thing. It is great for Israel as well. It is great for the Palestinian people. It is great for Middle East region. They're talking about, how they're going to be training X number of police officials, how universities and schools are going to be benefiting certain countries. They've also opened up free admission for Palestinian people to go and do further studies, everything paid for. Building of roads, building of many things, building of the infrastructure. And the so-called people, they will say, oh, this is something done by the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum has absolutely nothing to do with the Board of Peace, Because World Economic Forum, they are notorious people. They sound good, but the idea and intention is bad. The same thing with the United Nations as well. But what you asked, is an excellent question. I think maybe we can one day do an episode on Board of Peace as well.
Today our podcast is totally about don't fall for the fake news and the 14 points index. And definitely, if you're saying that Board of Peace is such good thing, people should post on the social medias, they won't because they are following fake news. So how can they put Board of Peace?
The other thing is, if you see someone talking about Board of Peace versus, let's say, someone talked about 3 missile launch, which is more attractive? Which do you think people are going to click on it more? Because at the end, people only go for clicks, isn't it? If you see one news that says so-and-so country has launched 3 nuclear missile attacks or launched a submarine attack, at the same time you see there is Board of Peace, which is going to be bringing peace and happiness. Which do you think people are going to click more?
So are you think the social media is responsible for this algorithm?
No. I think it's average individual people like me, like you, who are responsible for it because we are not emphasizing it more. I think we need to start spreading that message more. So we can't blame the social media because social media, social media, they're not doing a charity cause. They are profit-making businesses in it.
That's what I'm saying. That if I click something, any real news, if I click something, and then next minute the algorithm is flooded with the news of the same thing, either that is fake or that is real. I don't have time to check it out which Instagram handle is real.
Correct. So the onus lies on us. It is easy to blame other people. So I would say the blame is, let's say, on me, you, and average individuals. We need to be extra vigilant when we talk so much about things. We need to go and start taking the initiative and start spreading the right message. The official source, even if it is bad for that matter. That's what I think.
Yeah, pretty good. So let's work on the 10th point of this 14-point index. The United States of America undertakes that immediately upon the signing of this MoU and until the termination of sanctions, the United States Department of Treasury will issue waivers for the export of Iranian crude oil, petroleum products, and derivatives, and all associated services, including banking transactions, insurance, transportation, etc. I think this is a very good point.
Yeah, this is also massive news because the United States of America undertakes the immediate upon signing of the Memorandum of Understanding, which means that it's already happened. Now, unfortunately, there's no way to verify it if this thing has already happened. Now, the US Department of Treasury, they will issue waivers for the export of Iran crude oil, petroleum products and derivatives and all associated services, including banking transactions and insurance transportation. This is a massive win for Iran, isn't it? Now, according to me, there are 2 ways of looking at it. Is this a massive win for Iran, or does it actually motivate them to go ahead and follow the deal agreement? I would like to think of it the second part.
Don't you think that it's a win for Iran?
I think it is a great win for Iran as well. I think it is a great win for Iran. But let's say if the idea is that if we go ahead and do this, we have our money, we have a bit of freedom, why not continue it that way? But what you're saying is also correct. You can definitely take it as a win.
I think it's a win-win situation for both parties.
Yep.
And that's the massive thing to sign this peace deal, sign this 14-point index.
And this is going to be interesting to see how long it is going to be a win-win. Is it going to be just for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 60 days, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, or forever? We'd like to see it forever, isn't it? And regarding banking transactions, this is something that is raising a lot of concerns. Now, regarding these transactions, which are being approved, US will not be monitoring these transactions. They will only be monitoring the $300 billion. They will not be monitoring.
Where are this $300 billion coming from?
This is what we talked about earlier. It is the neighboring countries, right?
That's the thing. So neighboring countries, it's coming from the neighboring countries, including Pakistan as well. So still US going to monitor those things with the behavior of Iran. How they are spending.
They're going to be monitoring each and every transaction. Because as we talked about, you can always say, let's say you've got 100 dirhams. You can always say, about 400 dirhams I bought so and so. We can always create fake receipts, which is so easy to do, isn't it? So
you think that the blockchain and the crypto is totally involving this?
Not blockchain, not crypto. That's the reason I've very specifically said stable coins. So people, even in the cryptocurrency world, they think that stable coins are connected to blockchain and crypto. Not necessarily true. Stable coins are slightly different. In fact, I do have an event coming up on stable coins where I go ahead and explain the key difference between stable coins and cryptocurrencies. A lot of them, even who are in this space for more than 5 to 7 years, they think that stable coins are still part of cryptocurrencies. They are, but they are completely different. In stablecoin, the stablecoin issuer can directly go and block the account. At the same time, they can go and verify where the transactions are being done. But will the United States of America go ahead and implement stablecoins? I'm not sure. If they do, that'll be great. That way they can monitor it. But let's say with our fiat currency or US dollar or dirham, Iran has kind of got a free will, isn't it? So it's going to be really interesting to see if they do actually go ahead and implement stablecoin. And stablecoin is slightly different, to cryptocurrencies. I would say it has pretty much nothing to do with open blockchain also. But that is a technical topic and you can definitely go ahead and delve into that. But yeah, regarding this $300 billion, there's going to be monitoring. But regarding the unfreezing of these funds and the $24 billion, there's going to be no way to go ahead and identify these $24 billion. Because with this agreement, over a period of time, United States of America has frozen $24 billion. This is Iranian people's money. It is not American money or someone else's money. But because they were not doing as per what US wanted to do, US decided to go ahead and freeze the accounts. But one of the ambitions is, based on the behavior, they'll be going ahead and unfreezing the accounts. But we wouldn't know if this $24 billion are utilized for nuclear ambitions or for something else. But this goes back to President Donald Trump and JD Vance. They're going to be checking their behavior. So again, for this,
also we have to wait for the final deal.
Yeah. You'll have to wait for final details. Hopefully today or tomorrow there might be another meeting. Or maybe when the stock market opens tomorrow, President Donald Trump will post something on Truth Social and the stock market gets impacted in a positive or
negative. And I think that's the reason that the Switzerland meeting is done on Sunday.
So hopefully by 2 a.m. in UAE time, we'll get more update.
Let's rush to the 11th point. The United States of America undertakes to make fully available for use the frozen or restricted funds and assets of the Islamic Republic of Iran upon the implementation of this MoU. The United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran will mutually agree on the procedures related to the release of these funds during the negotiations. Such funds, whether retained in the original account or transferred, shall be made fully usable for payment to any ultimate beneficiary designated by the Central Bank of the Islamic Republic of Iran. The United States of America undertakes to issue all necessary licenses and authorizations accordingly.
Yeah, this goes back to the $24 billion point that we are talking about.
Yep, you were just talking about this right now.
Frozen by United States of America. That's going to be unfrozen, but there's no way to go ahead and identify where these transactions are done. Maybe they can use it to finance, let's say, Hezbollah or the party. A lot of pro-Trump advocates are not happy with this at all, because it states, such funds, whether retained in the original account or transferred, shall be fully usable for payments for the ultimate beneficiary designated by the Central Bank of Iran. There's no way for Iran to go ahead and identify that, isn't it? So it's going to be really interesting to see, what the final outcome to this is. Now, Trump is saying that they're not going to be unfreezing all of this thing at the same time. Rather, it's going to be done on batches because, once again, they want to go ahead and monitor their behavior. So the key theme is, the United States of America wants to go ahead and monitor their behavior. What about the 12th point? Let's go ahead and run through the 12th point because it says the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America agree that an exclusive mechanism will be established to monitor the successful implementation of this MoU and future compliance of the final deal.
For this, I can tell you that the fake news is already circulating in the market.
Yeah.
And, Iran has already started in attacking fake news. And even if you open right now Twitter or X, you will find number of accounts. Everything is coming on this. But I think so we should wait for the official news for the final deal.
Yeah.
What's your take in this?
What he said is absolutely spot on. There's fake news circulating like rapid fire much faster than any other news. Only after signing, the official final agreement, which might happen, let's say 60 days from now, we might be getting specifics. I'm not sure if it's going to be made publicly open for everyone, because it does create a bit of security concerns as well, isn't it? So let's see what happens to that.
Let's see on point 13 that after signing this MoU and subject to the beginning of the implementation of paragraphs 1, 4, 5, 10 and 11 of this MoU and the continuing implementation of these measures, the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America will start negotiations regarding the final deal exclusively on the other paragraphs.
This is not much. I think hopefully we might be getting more updates regarding it. After the meeting that they're having in Geneva, we might be getting more updates regarding what this MoU is all about. Maybe final details. I think they're definitely heading in the right direction. And maybe in the next 60 days, we'll be getting concrete update regarding the Iran deal. And this brings us to the final point, that is the final deal will be endorsed by a binding UNSC resolution. Hopefully, I'm just hoping that this deal is actually available to the public. And, we might be getting more information.
Before signing off, there's a question for the listeners. Who benefits most from this deal? And see, now if we look at the entire picture after reading these all 14 points index, the permanent termination of military operations, the lifting of naval blockades, and the path toward the Abraham Accords, who actually benefits the most from this deal? Is it a strategic victory for the United States of America? Or a lifeline for Iran? Or a massive win for the stability of neighboring Middle East countries? We can end this question to ask public what exactly it is. But what's your take and in the summarized take in this whole 14 points index?
I would say it is a bit too early to tell, but if I were to put my money, I would say 60% win for American people, 40% win for, let's say, Iran. And based in as in we get more information regarding this, we'll get a better idea as to, ideally, look, when situations such as this, there should be 50-50%, isn't it? Neither should America or Trump get upper hand, or so should Iran or the RGC get an upper hand, as long as it is 50-50%. More importantly, when we talk about Middle East, everyone wants smooth flow of transportation of goods and services, because at the end of the day, our life becomes smoother and easier, isn't it? So we'll just have to wait and see, whose life becomes
That's the thing, that because of this. War is not a solution to anything. Having a feud between each other, it's not a solution. So definitely everyone is looking for peace. Everyone wants peace. And I would say, of course, 50% the strategies of United States of America is on the win side or get benefits from this. But remaining 50%, I won't say Iran solely. I would say remaining 50% would be the entire world who is getting involved somehow, directly or indirectly, with this Strait of Hormuz, with this Iran-US war, and with this peace deal. So I think so the neighboring countries comes, and then later part, if you see, the Indonesia, Philippines, the Southeast Asia, which was also affected with the oils and the logistics. I think they had some petroleum issues as well. The Australia, New Zealand, the Pakistan, India, everyone is connected from the Strait of Hormuz. So I think so it's a win for everyone.
That is absolutely correct, and you very nicely put it across. And hopefully in the next few days, we might be getting more information. The only message I'd like to tell our listeners is, we are living in a world where having a lot of information is not important. Mainstream media always wants to be first as opposed to be right, so go to look at official sources. But at the same time, you also need to remember that official sources are also biased. They would not be putting out some hidden information which they want to hide it from the public. So try to become individual journalist, read through a lot of official sources, not necessarily mainstream media, and then make up your own mind. But if you do have any questions, we'll mention our contact details in the email. So thank you so much, for doing this. Well, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, George, for inviting me on this. And let's see how we can cover this, the final deal. And within a couple of days, we'll get the official news more clear. So we can sit on this again.
Sounds good. Perfect.